And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Friday, January 24th. I am Josh Engleman, here to break down a 3-game NBA slate on a Friday? What? 3 games? Why? Why just 3? I don't understand. I don't like it. But we're here. We're breaking it all down. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. I guess Nikola Jokic is pretty good at basketball. Decent day. Had a joker yesterday. Just a crisp 99 fantasy points. Nothing crazy. The old 35, 22, and 17 game. Incredible. Incredible. This dude is so damn good. So damn good. It's truly nuts, man. This guy just... I don't know how he does it. I really don't. I also don't know how OKC lost to Dallas. That's kind of crazy. How the hell did Boston lose to the Lakers? Lots of weird results yesterday. Golden State smacks Chicago. Curry ends up playing. All right. Sounds good. Portland beats Orlando by 22. What was in the water yesterday, man? For real. But Jokic, man. Dude's nasty. Yeah, big one out of PJ Washington for sure. Dyson Daniels had a good day. Kongwu was good. Ware was good. But now we're here for a 3-game slate. I don't know why. We have 3 games today and 14 tomorrow. Kind of annoying. And then we have 1 game on Sunday. Obviously, the NFL is a little bit bigger on Sunday. But 3 today, 14 tomorrow. Is that necessary, NBA? Apparently it is. But this kind of stinks. Kind of stinks. We could use a couple. Use a couple more. Well, let's break it down as much as we possibly can to start the day. That's going to be with the Portland Trailblazers. Whoop, there we go. Portland Trailblazers. They're going to be 5-point underdogs in Charlotte, 220 total. Now, we have no idea who the hell is going to be playing for Portland because even with how dumb this slate is, they are the team that is on a back-to-back. Now, this is also a team that has been relatively up in the air with their injury statuses over the past few games. Yesterday, we had no DeAndre Ayton, but everybody else was in. However, Scoot was in major foul trouble. He played 14 minutes. We got the start at a Time Lord. He played 24 minutes. We have no idea if DeAndre Ayton plays. We don't really know how they're going to handle this back-to-back, whether, Denny plays, whether Simons plays, whether Jeremy Grant plays. Kamara missed a game recently. I'm guessing Time Lord doesn't play, which means that we're probably getting like Jabari Walker as the backup center, although they could use Dwop Reith, or maybe Ayton and Time Lord aren't playing. So lots up in the air for Portland. I don't even want to allude to the ownership right now because it's not super relevant for Portland in this case because we just don't know who's going to start. If DeAndre Ayton is in, I think he looks pretty good, assuming Robert Williams doesn't play. Because then I think you're getting... Actually, I wonder what the sample is. Do we have a sample of games where Time Lord... It's probably only 1 or 2 games. How many times has DeAndre Ayton started, but Klingon and Robert Williams didn't play? Okay, there's been 7 games in that scenario. That's interesting. 7 games where Ayton started, Klingon and Time Lord not available. We have 89 minutes to Jabari Walker in those games. How's that possible? 89 and 7. That's like 13 minutes. Dwop Reith got 34. 89 plus 34. 123 minutes across 7 games is like 17 and a half minutes. Okay. So if we go those 123 and 229 to Ayton, that would be 352 minutes in 7 games for Ayton, Reith, and Walker. That's a little over 50. Okay, so we really just have to think that it's Walker, likely as the backup center for Portland, who will look okay, is probably the best that we can say. Now, we don't know what Jeremy Grant's going to be doing. He's been pretty awful. Something's going to look okay for Portland today. While it's a pace down spot against Charlotte, it's certainly not a very good Charlotte Hornets team. This is actually the most competitive game. Portland and Charlotte is a 5-point line. Cleveland, Philly is 10. Pelicans and Grizzlies is 12. Well, my guess is we're getting Jabari Walker as the backup center to Ayton, assuming Ayton plays and Time Lord is out. Not sure why Chauncey doesn't play Jabari. Probably because he stinks. My guess is that it's because he's probably the worst player on the Blazers. That would be my guess. I could be wrong, hypothetically there, but my guess would be because he's the worst guy on the team. That seems to make the most sense to me. You never know, though. You never know. Yeah, Steven, that's the thing. Like, we don't know if Ayton's playing. We don't know if Time Lord's playing. Completely changes whether we're getting Walker or Reith or neither or both. Like, we just don't know what these guys are going to be doing. If Scoot's going to be coming off the bench, 6,800 is not a price tag you want to pay. Assuming Shaedon Sharpe, like if they go to the same starting lineup they had yesterday of, let's just say center, because it doesn't matter if it's Time Lord or Ayton. Let's just say center, Simons, Kamara, Grant, Avdia. I don't want Sharpe or Scoot off the bench, but if I'm grabbing one of them, it's definitely Sharpe. Yeah, Jabari Walker is next level bad so far in life. He is... Where'd it go? Oh, he's negative 2.3 offense. I was looking at his actual for this year. Yeah, I'm sure he will, Zach. I'm sure he will. Yeah, we don't know what we're going to get out of Portland, so they're a really difficult team to really break down for right now. Charlotte, a little bit different. We could actually talk about these guys. Now, this could get pretty ridiculous because LaMelo Ball is questionable with a right wrist sprain. Miles Bridges is questionable with low back spasms. Brandon Miller had surgery on his wrist. He's done for the year. Salon's with the G League team. Cody Martin, Seth Curry, both probable. So, obviously, if LaMelo and or Miles Bridges are out, Charlotte is going to look very different. And we are likely, I mean, you can see most of the salaries on the screen. Let's just say, for example, Ball and Bridges don't play. Outside of Mark Williams, the next most expensive guy is going to be $4,200 Nick Smith. So Charlotte's going to be a giant pain in the ass. And we're going to be doing that Misic thing. We're going to be doing Seth Curry things. We're probably going to be doing like Daquan Jeffries things. So Charlotte is fixing to look pretty awful, depending on the status here of LaMelo and Bridges. Now, if LaMelo is in, it's 30% optimal, 59% boom score, 37% owned. I completely agree with that ownership. I completely agree with the 37% ownership on Mark Williams, up to 7,800 now. But I don't think that's crazy. I mean, we're talking about a 1.25 to 1.3 fantasy point per minute dude. It's a 3-game slate. He's playing 30 minutes a night as long as he's not in foul trouble. He might have a really good matchup, depending on how this breaks. I have no problem at all getting there. I do think Miles Bridges is a hair over-owned at 45%. I have him 24% optimal, 46% chance of 37 fantasy points. He looks really good, but I would say like something in the 30s makes more sense than something in the 40s. And then Nick Smith as a value option. Sure, 4,200, shooting guard, small forward. We only have 3 games, so getting a starter with that positional eligibility, I think we probably got to look at it. So, something in the 15% range for him makes sense. Josh Green's so bad on a per minute basis, but 3-gamer, you can use him. Cody Martin's kind of the same thing, just plays less. Josh Okogie's here as like a relatively sneaky option, potentially. But like, if even just one of Ball or Bridges are out, that's going to be enough to dramatically change Charlotte. All for one, one for all. Jabari last year, 9.7 rebounds, 23 minutes a game last year average. Crying, laughing face. I don't know what's funny about that statement. I don't know if that's supposed to make him good or bad, or I have no idea what that means. None whatsoever. I don't know why that's hysterical. There's not a funny word in that entire sentence. People really overdo emojis and don't understand what they're doing. I'll never get it. Maybe it's because I'm old now. Crying, laughing at Jabari stat line as like a defense of why he should play more. I'll never get it. I'll never get it. We're at pretty wild slate for pace. So this Charlotte-Portland game, I have at 95.5 possessions. Cleveland-Philly, I have at 95 possessions. And then New Orleans and Memphis, 102.3. 7 possessions faster than these first 2 games. And it's the late night hammer, so to speak. It's a very interesting first game, though, because there's so much news that we're waiting on that this could look dramatically different by the time we get there. Like, just imagine if LaMelo and Bridges both sit. We're going to have $3,400 Vasily Micic. We're going to be doing that one again. We're going to be doing some sort of flat 3K shooting guard Seth Curry. I'm guessing Josh Okogie at that point looks kind of decent because he's not a horrible per minute guy. Nick Smith is probably playing 32 minutes. He's going to become incredibly popular. Everything changes here for Charlotte. Crazy. And I assume we're getting something on the Portland side. What if it gets really wild and DeAndre Ayton doesn't play today and Time Lord sits on the back-to-back and they're just playing Jabari Walker and Dwap Reith 48 total minutes? For a 3-game slate, tonight might be just straight insane. All right, schedule for the rest of the day. 10 a.m., Laffy, Greg, NFL Strategy Show. I will be back later tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with DK for the deeper dive. And then live before lock, Greg and Eric at 6 p.m. We're not doing playback tonight because of this just being a 3-gamer. There's not really a lot to talk about. Both games lock at 7. All we're really talking about at that point then is Pelicans, Memphis. So No live before lock. Or sorry, yeah, there is live before lock. No playback. No live after lock today. Micic to Williams seems like a solid game plan. Yeah, I mean, Micic would just be throwing lob after lob after lob to Mark Williams. All right, let's go to game number 2. Cleveland Cavaliers. 10-point favorites in Philadelphia. This game has a 228 total. Massive pace down spot for Cleveland. They lose 3.9 possessions below their average. LaMelo Ball got snubbed. F the media. Not his fault. He's on a bad team. All-star been boring, so don't let the fan favorites start. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, sure. Anyway. The lack of understanding is quite high. Let's talk about all the ownership coming into the Cleveland side here. Now, Karis LeVert is questionable. He's missed the previous 2 games. If he's in, it makes your Sam Merrills, your Jalen Tysons just not playable. Makes your Ty Jeromes and George Niangs and Max Struces and Dean Wade's a little bit less interesting. However, right now, we've got 20% ownership coming into Donovan Mitchell. We've got 40 coming into Darius Garland. We'll pay attention to that because I think those guys are the exact same play. We've got 35% ownership coming into Jarrett Allen, 25 to Wade, 10 to Strus, 30 to the questionable Karis LeVert, 20 to Ty Jerome, and 5 to George Niang, 5 to Tristan Thompson. I want to start with Tristan Thompson. He's like sort of sneaky to me today if he's 4% owned. 3,100, center eligible. And these guys are like, we just watched Cleveland play, what, a game ago? 2 games ago? When was that? Like, what happens if Cleveland just blows them out the same way they did against the Suns? Tristan Thompson played 26 minutes in that blowout against the Suns. What happens if Cleveland just blows out Philly here? It appears that they will use Tristan Thompson as the blowout center, but he's also going to be the backup for Jarrett Allen. So, like, I gave him 18 minutes for 3,100 as a 0.9 fantasy point per minute guy with the potential for backup run. I really do think that Tristan Thompson is under-owned today. For what this slate is, 5% for him is too low. I'm more interested in him. I'm a pretty big LaMelo Ball stan, but there's no such thing as snubs in this case. Like, everybody just votes. They say this was worth half and this is worth a quarter and that's worth a quarter, and then it's just whoever the fuck shows up. Like, there's no way to snub anybody there. You want to tell me that he's snubbed if he doesn't make the All-Star game? We could have a different conversation, but there's no snubs for starters. It's a giant process of 3 different things voting for one item. I know, it's crazy. You can't snub all-star starters. You can be snubbed from the game, but like it's not just a clean mechanism. And obviously, don't let the fans pick anything. They're dumb. They're the dumbest of the dumb. Who even is the media consist of? That's why he was snubbed. They picked him 7th. Yeah, anyway, I'm just going to move on because the lack of understanding here is going to break my brain. Let's talk through Cleveland. Oh my god. You guys are my kryptonite, man. 20% ownership to Mitchell, 40 to Garland. I think we're all on the same page here that that seems like too big of a gap. Now, I'm not saying that Darius Garland doesn't look good, but should those guys be 2-1? I don't know. I don't see it. Look, if you guys see the screen right now, I have Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland with the exact same optimal rate and the exact same boom scores, boom percentages, that is. Obviously, you don't need as many fantasy points out of Garland because he's cheaper. But I have them both with a 55% chance of having like a legitimate score. This is the team that I think grades out the best in terms of boom. At least, well, actually, no, it's second. Sorry, that's Memphis. I read that number wrong. As I look at it right now, I'd like to get more Donovan Mitchell than Darius Garland from a DFS perspective. If their ownership is going to be 2-1 Garland to Mitchell, I'd like to just have them both. They both look fantastic. Jared Allen looks completely reasonable, but I'm very interested in what it takes to get to Tristan Thompson. Dean Wade's Dean Wade. Like 3,900, small forward, power forward eligible. Totally fine. Ooh, S&P. I will disagree with the LaMelo shouldn't be an all-star at all. But that comes down to a decision of what do you want the all-star game to be. I'm for the all-star game, I think he should be an all-star. I'm going to keep my eye out for Thompson on the pick'em sites today. Good shit. Yeah, Glenn, that is not at all what I'm saying. I have no concept of what he would look like on pick'em sites. This is an ownership and salary conversation for DFS. Not at all the same thing. Look, if LeVert is in 4K point guard, shooting guard, 30% owned, might be a hair too high. I would argue that Ty Jerome is also probably a bit high. Assuming LeVert is in, I don't like that much Jerome. I think you need LeVert to be out to like Jerome and Wade as much as we do. Again, not that Ty Jerome doesn't look good. He's like a 10 to 15% guy. 20 feels high. Like, I don't think that Ty Jerome should be 21-5 in ownership to George Niang. I don't even think Strus should be 2-1 on Niang. Like, there are some inconsistencies in ownership here that I think look interesting, but I also, like, we can't get married to 9:30 a.m. ownership. Now, if LeVert is out, you feel pretty good about those minutes for Strus. Wade's probably not moving around too much. Jerome's minutes won't go anywhere. Basically, LeVert allows you to give minutes to Sam Merrill and Jalen Tyson. Most of Karis LeVert's minutes will go to those two guys. But I think Tristan Thompson might just be one of the most interesting plays of the day. Just because of what this matchup is. Like, it doesn't strike. They don't tend to play Jared Allen like massive minutes unless they have to. But that game against the Suns, 2 games ago, this is, no Mobley, it's no LeVert. Jared Allen left in the third quarter. He did a 6-minute rotation. Tristan Thompson came on. He didn't leave the floor again. Like, that is in play for what we have for this matchup today. But worst case scenario, even if he plays 18 minutes, it's a 3-game slate. 20 fantasy points is your target score at 3,100. I think he does that 24% of the time. So, yeah, I think Tristan Thompson's extra sneaky today. I kind of think George Niang's the same, but Niang is sort of a little bit more dependent for me on LeVert. If LeVert is in and Niang is 5%, Tristan Thompson and George Niang are the sneak plays today. All right, S&P. I actually want to have this conversation. All right. Your bracketed statement there is kind of bringing it back. I don't think his inefficiency on Charlotte is why Charlotte's bad. I think that it is a necessary evil. Now, I don't necessarily know if LaMelo can do what he does on a good team, but they don't have a choice. I'd rather him have like slightly below average efficiency at 38% usage than like let Josh Green shoot. I think. And I think you're probably seeing it the same way. Like, I would assume that, like, my guess is if you could get him with some talent, that he would get into that like 37, 38% range from 3, which he had a couple years ago. If he just took away all of the bad shots that bring down that efficiency. His real problem is that he's dreadful defensively. That's the actual problem. Like, next level bad. What's their... This will be interesting. What is their offensive rating when he's on the floor? That's usually a good barometer. Okay, so they have a 115 offensive rating when he's on the floor. Yeah, he's doing a lot. To get them to a 64th percentile offense while he's on, that's pretty good with like very little other talent. I mean, look, I'm Team LaMelo and I have been. He's going to get to somewhere else and be good, but it'll all come down to defense for him. Melo stepped up his defense a little this year. Eric Schaefer killing it today with awful takes. You're just firing full barrels of... I mean, he's like legit terrible defensively. Always has been, is this year. Yeah, just super duper terrible. But, you know, whatever you need to do. All right, I'm going to rank the Cleveland Cavaliers for today, assuming Caris LeVert is in. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Caris LeVert, Dean Wade, George Niang, Tristan Thompson, Max Strus, Ty Jerome. Bada bing, bada boom. And then we go to Philly. And this Philly team, man, I assume we're all feeling the same way about Philly. No Andre Drummond. No Joel Embiid. No Kyle Lowry. No Caleb Martin. No KJ Martin. No Jared McCain. No Pete Nance. So Philly has 10 dudes. You've got what I would imagine to be Yabu starting at center, Bona backing him up, Bona playing the role of, to me, a slightly worse Tristan Thompson today. We've got 35% ownership coming into Yabusele, 30 to Paul George, 15 to Oubre. Right now, just 6 to Tyrese Maxey. If for some reason that's true, he's wildly underowned. I just assume that he ends up a little bit more owned as we get closer to lock today. We need to think about a $3,800 Justin Edwards without question. We might have to be thinking a little bit about Ricky Council today. But I don't know how you don't want to play at least some Yabusele. It's 5K, power forward center. The other two guys that play center aren't available today. They need the minutes just sort of by default. So I agree with the ownership on Yabu. I agree with the ownership on Paul George, but I don't think anybody wants it. Shooting guard, small forward, 8K, 30% owned. I think he should be 30% owned. I completely agree with it. At 8K, you're looking 39 fantasy points. Oubre looks fine at 6K. But 10K Maxey? 6% owned? That's sneaky to me, man. That's super sneaky. Now, I don't believe that he's going to be 6%. I just don't. But 10K is a big price tag. Eric Gordon's fine as a value. I'd rather get to Justin Edwards over Eric Gordon, if I'm being honest. Just a better, slightly better per minute guy, way better positioning. But you can roll the dice on Bona. I don't love it because he's not the per minute guy that you would expect him to be. And then I wouldn't go anywhere near like Jeff Doughton or Reggie Jackson. Steven, yeah. No, you didn't hear that wrong. Talked to Kelly Oubre Sr. at the start of free agency, and he swore the Cavs were going to sign Kelly. Last year? They just trade for Strus at that point? It doesn't. I don't even know why I'm entertaining this. Play a lot of Yabu. Clearly the best Philly option. Paul George second. Tyrese Maxey for me is third. We want to know that ownership. That's the most important thing for me today. Tyrese Maxey is like the good version of Tristan Thompson for me. Anthony Hunt, hold that thought on Robert Williams should start if Ayton is out because he probably won't. But just in case. Are you guys going to join me out with Paul George? 30% own Paul George, I might add. I had a lot of him a couple days ago. I think I'm going to have a lot of them again tonight. Yeah, I mean, no thanks on PG. He's looked so not good. The 3-gamer here? Like, what if Philly just wins this game? What if it's that easy? What if the Sixers just simply win today? It looks good. Let's close it out. Pelicans and Grizzlies. But first, the The promo code is BINK, 20% off any single sport package. If that's NBA, that's going to be projections, ownership, all of our simulation tools, premium Discord, and more. And the reason we're running this deal is because Stokastic avatars just keep winning Millie Makers. It just keeps happening. We've had at least 4 so far this year. Every time we get one, we run a deal for you guys, and that's what we're doing here. So, what is it? Case Need? Is that what it is? Shout out to him for picking up the Millie win. You guys can click the link in the description of this video or use the promo code BINK when you check out. Any single sport package, your first payment is 20% off. Let's get to the Pels. 12-point dogs in Memphis. 243 total. This total is 15 points higher than Cleveland, Philly, and 23 points higher than Portland and Charlotte. Yeah, this is a big one. Now, for the Pels, no Brandon Ingram, no Herb Jones, no Zion. Yves Missi, DeJounte Murray, both questionable. Sorry, Yves Missi, DeJounte Murray, both probable. Probable. For the Grizzlies, Santi Aldama is questionable. Jake LaRavia still out. Zach Edey is available. So for the Pelicans side, big ownership coming to 2 guys. Javonte Green is at 35%. DeJounte Murray is essentially at 40%. So I prefer Murray to Javonte Green in this spot. I do think that DeJounte Murray looks like the best option from the Pels. 8,400, point guard only. I got him 30% optimal, 60% chance of hitting a 41 target score. No problem at all with this Murray ownership, other than the fact that, terrible matchup, but great pace matchup. They gain 3.5 possessions over their average. They're just running into a really good defense. But I like the Murray ownership, and I don't hate the Javonte Green ownership. He starts when Zion's not around. He plays like 26 minutes. He's a 0.75 guy, 3,600, small forward, power forward eligible. He's good value on a day where we don't have a ton of it just yet. Then we get CJ McCollum and Yves Missi, both around 25% owned. I think CJ is actually probably a hair under-owned. Missi's basically right on the number. Then you get Trey Murphy and Jordan Hawkins, both around 15%. Now, I would say that Trey Murphy is under-owned at 17% ownership. Plays big minutes. Obviously has a big salary here. But shooting guard, small forward, great flexibility. Can move him around if need be. And I'd rather just find a different pay down option somewhere else to be able to get to Murphy. I got him 26% optimal. 49% chance of scoring 40 fantasy points. That's what you're looking for out of an $8,200 Murphy today. And that's what I would like. So I think Trey Murphy, under-owned for the Pels. Murray, properly owned. McCollum, essentially properly owned to a hair under-owned. Missi, properly owned. Javonte Green, properly owned. Jordan Hawkins, properly owned. Around 15%. 3,400, shooting guard only. Assuming that we get Javonte Green in the starting lineup, this should be a relatively easy rotation for the Pels to project here. Don't really have much interest in like Alvarado or JRE or Boston. Daniel Tice at 4,600, probably a little bit too expensive to get to. And then we get to Memphis. Now, the Memphis side, like I said, Santi Aldama, questionable, no Jake LaRavia. That's the same thing we had last time out for the Grizzlies. Now, they're massive favorites. We're getting 20% ownership to Desmond Bane. I think that's spot on. We're getting 28% to Triple J. I think that's spot on. 7 to Ja Morant. One of Ja Morant or Tyrese Maxey is going to be way under-owned today. I want them both a lot. These guys look amazing. I really hope LaMelo plays Because if LaMelo doesn't play, then it's going to be a lot easier for everybody to get to Ja and get to Maxey. And as of right now, I think these guys are massively underowned. Give me way more Ja. Give me way more Maxey. I'd like a little bit more 15% Jalen Wells. Luke Kennard, I don't think is a crazy option at 7% ownership. He's going to play 24 minutes a night. If Santi Aldama is in, 28% ownership for him feels a hair high. Now, I do have him 18% optimal, 33% chance of hitting a 26.5 target score. But 28% is a little bit rich for Aldama, coming from a team that could play 12 dudes today if they need to. Edey's like a 10% guy. Brandon Clark's like a 10% guy. You can get a couple shares of Scottie Pippen. But if I'm ranking these guys, I have Ja Morant 1 on Memphis, and he's one of the least owned guys on the team. So give me Ja, give me Triple J, give me Jalen Wells, give me Bane, then give me Aldama, and then your mileage may vary on Kennard, Edey, Clark, or Pippen. This is a fun game. The pace of this is massive. The implied totals are huge. The expected fantasy points are just way bigger in this game than they are for Cleveland, Philly, Portland, and Charlotte. Not a bad scenario here, folks. I like this little 3-gamer we have. Let's build one lineup on DraftKings, see how we do. Then we're going to dip on out of here. So hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Let's see how we do here. Can I move this? That would be really helpful if I can. Nope. I can't. Oh, I can. I just got to move the whole damn thing. Nope. That doesn't work. Ridgeline. No. Tizzle, does my interest in Brandon Clark go up if Aldama is out? No. Probably not. Incrementally, but not really. GG Jackson? No. I need guys that play more than 10 minutes a game. The guy that plays Time Lord every night sure has no problem talking to shit to his listeners. Yes? Correct? All right, let's build this lineup out. Who are the most By the way, number one value play right when we lock this in right now is Tristan Thompson. I'm putting him in right now because it's going to create a massive sim ROI for us. Let's see if we can just build this out and then we can make some pivots. So we're going to get Karis LeVert in at the point. Javonte Green in at small forward. Yabu in at power forward. I'm not going to go to Misi right away because I don't think we'll have to. Let's get... Ooh. If I take Garland, then I can't take Murray. Let's get Murray. Let's get Mark Williams. I'm going to have a lot of salary that I could upgrade with. Need a shooting guard and a forward. Shooting guard becomes CJ. Forward becomes Miles Bridges. Okay. So just by taking the best values we could find, we end up with 3,100 left on the table. So let's figure out where the best place is to upgrade this lineup. Now, I would want to... I kind of want to get off of Miles Bridges. But who did I mean, I definitely want to get off of CJ. That makes the most sense to me if I'm going to have Murray. But really, what I need to do is get to one of Maxey or Ja. That's really what I do want, because I do like those guys more than I like just about anything else on this slate. Ah, there we go. So if I get, I'm going to move LeVert to shooting guard. And I'm going to go to Maxey first. Now I'm going to go Ja first. We'll go Ja. Then we'll get Karis LeVert back in at shooting guard. That starts to spend a little bit more of my salary. Let's see. I don't really feel like I need that Miles Bridges piece. I'm okay with the Mark Williams piece. We got a lot of salary we can spend. If I take out Bridges, what's the next best forward? So he is the second best option there. I can spend $700 more and cut ownership to go to Triple J. Let's go Morant and Triple J. That gives us Murray and Javonte Green. I might actually just be able to upgrade Tristan Thompson, and it's not that bad. But what happens if I want to take Yabu out? Is there something better than Yabu? No. Is there something better than Javonte Green at small forward? Jalen Wells at half the ownership. All right, let's see how it looks. This is going to be the first one. 200 on the table. Let's get it done. Okay. 35.6. I can handle that. Now, I think a very natural place that we can go is removing Tristan Thompson and going to a slightly better option for points. But there's something there for Tristan that I would run in full sims. So let's get Tristan out of there, because we want to try to upgrade our raw points. Let's get Mark Williams into that center spot. Now that leaves me a utility spot that we could do anything with. Now Tristan Thompson is technically the best option we have because we only have 3,300. So we're going to free up some salary somewhere. And I think DeJounte Murray is the spot where we do that. Because in lieu of Murray, we can save a pretty decent chunk of salary. If I grab Garland in the guard spot, now what can I spend at utility? We can go to Ty Jerome at that point, which is a pretty sizable upgrade on Tristan Thompson. Let's see what that looks like now. I think there's a better allocation here. Oh, damn, only 26. Okay. I'm clearing it out. We're doing one more before the NFL strategy show. I think we can manage this one a little bit better than we did. Let's get Ty Jerome in at the point. We're going to get Yves Missi in at center. I'm going to get Santi Aldama in at the 4. We're going to get Javonte Green in at small forward. And now I think I could fill this out pretty easily from top to bottom. Shooting guard is going to be Donovan Mitchell, honestly. I guess Bane in this case. Let's go Bane. We have 8K for everybody left. I mean, Murray has to be the guard, which lets the forward be Triple J pretty easily. And that leaves us 8K for Mark Williams. How do we look? This should be the best one we built. I think I got raw points better here. Man, 35 again. The Czar's a little rusty. I haven't done this in a while. But I'll take 35.4. This is the single lineup sim, everybody. You can build your lineups by hand, click a button, find out the simulated ROI, win rate, top 10 rate, cash rate. It's that simple. But that is where we stand for today. Deeper dive coming up later tonight at 5. But you got the NFL Strategy Show coming up next. Laffy and Greg breaking it down for this Sunday. So good luck, everybody. By the way, no NBA Strategy Show on Sunday this week. There's only one NBA game. It's obviously an NFL day. So I will see you guys again Monday morning on another edition of the NBA Strategy Show.